All right, guys, we're here with the post credits. Me and Matt, we still covering, and it'll be the final episode that we do. We'll have to come up with some kind of show to be in that once we get through watches and start breaking some, maybe doing a little impromptu post credits until some of these bigger shows get started that's coming up. But right now we are covering The Last of Us. This is the final episode of the second season that we shall be talking about. Matt, how you doing?
Pretty good, thanks. How you doing?
Hanging in there, buddy. What's kind of your just overall like first impressions of this final episode?
I was pretty disappointed with this episode. Um, it didn't conclude anything in the story. It hardly progressed the story from where we were last time. Uh, the fake out at the end. I don't know if it's a fake out. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, I just wasn't happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I will, basically, I feel the same way in some ways. There's just things, man, that's like going wrong with the show. Like I said, the actor that plays Ellie, like, man, she does good, and I stressed this on this last episode we talked about. She does good when she has somebody to like kind of tag team on that's like a strong character next to her and stuff like that. Like she seems to do like a good job when that's there. But then when you go to the parts where like she has to be the dominant person on the screen, it just starts to falter with me for just multiple reasons. I can't believe a lot of the things that like she can do.
Yeah,
I also uh, think some of the things she does is like still kind of childish and dumb, and like you really can't fault like the actress on that all the time. But like we have some of the same people running the show and writing the show for the other episodes when she has like a strong character to kind of fall off of, and she's like a co-lead or like a secondary character. So like the same
hmm
writers. So maybe it's because I notice it more when she's on the screen more or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like some of the things like decisions her character makes and stuff like that. Like I said, all that's not obviously not her fault with that part of it anyway. Uh, just doesn't like coincide some with the game and everything else. And I'll talk about that as we do more of the talk about some of those things in the episode. But yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. Like I didn't think it was a great episode to end on. This should have probably been like a next to last episode or something like that. Maybe ended and then like you come back the next week. Because the problem is you got to wait like probably 2 years for like the third season to
yeah.
come out. So like, I mean, how amped up are you going to be and everything else? Because it kind of goes to black in that one instance like that you're talking about there at the very end. But
Yeah.
let's talk about the episode a little bit here. You know, we come back. You have Jesse's there. Obviously, he's gotten back to the theater with Dina, and she's still got the arrow. A couple of things happen here, and then he like pushes the arrow out of her leg and everything else. Like a pretty dramatic scene there. I personally didn't have anything like that I disliked really with these. I thought both the actress and actor on this did really well. I like Jesse's character. I like the person playing Jesse. Same thing with Dina. I thought they did pretty well in this like particular moment. And then we have like Ellie uh, coming back, and she gets in, and then you have the moment where she goes back there and talks to Dina, some of the backstory that she lets Dina know and everything else. And at that moment, Dina's like, let's get out of here. Like, because then Dina realizes like what's happening, like why these people actually came and attacked Joel. So like, even though you want to avenge Joel at that moment, you realize like, oh crap, like Joel kind of did something pretty nasty to these people. That's why they
Yeah.
came for him. So like, I kind of like, so she's kind of understanding like, wait, this isn't what I thought it was. This is a little bit different than I thought was happening. Like these people, even though I don't like what they did and wish they wouldn't have did it, they have like reasons to do what they do too, or they did. So you can kind of see that. And plus, she's like pregnant, so she's not wanting to, she's down to be there if she feels like she needs to. But now the area becomes a little gray. Yeah, man, what did you think about that whole like first section of the show?
Yeah, that part was cool. I mean, I was expecting it. But that was about the only like okay part of the show, man. To be honest, like from there on, it was like, what's going on? Like, um, I don't know. I was just really disappointed with this episode. But
No, like I said, there's just things that like happen, during the episode and stuff that I totally agree with you on. That was probably the best moment. We got that little bit of character development and stuff, like you said, the first like 5, 10. Then we have Jesse and Ellie. They go out. They're trying to find like Tommy and stuff like that. They go back. They're basically making their way to the bookstore, which is where Jesse and like Tommy had kind of met face to face while they were searching for some buildings. One of the things that people didn't like in the game was that like they easily found a map that showed exactly where they were. In the show, they did try to change it, which I think was for the better, where they actually say that like Tommy and them showed up, and they spent the last 2 days like searching for the store building and stuff. They thought would make sense. But they were weird.
yeah,
They like kind of said and told like, hey, there was a reason for all this stuff. There was, like them just happening to fall, into like there was a map or something like that. Uh, was kind of stupid in the game. I actually think they did this part a little bit better. I didn't mind the banter between Jesse and Ellie on this, to be honest with you. I don't think this was like a bad part of the show either. I don't think it was like super great or anything, but like, yeah, I thought it was okay. You have
yeah.
anything to add with like the Jesse and moments here?
No, it was cool that he figured out that she was pregnant and fucking. He was cool with like them getting together and shit.
This is some of the stuff that makes the story fall apart for me a little bit. Like you just find out this big news that you're going to be a dad, right? Which then makes it weird to me, like the dialogue they choose to use in that scene. It was like a couple of episodes ago where she kind of says like, "Oh, I'm going to be a dad." It's like, well, okay, like that's just weird. And then when he says it here, it's like it just made me rethink about that scene that I thought was kind of just dumb how it was laid out. But I also got to say, like, there's a weak part here. Like, I didn't think what they did personally, like as far as the actor and actress and stuff like that, I didn't think it was like super terrible what they did. But the writing part of this to me is kind of out there a little bit. It's like, bro, this dude just found out he's going to be a father. He's not going to just automatically uh, be okay with the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, this is one of those like bro code moments, right? Like me and you are like really good friends. You know what I'm saying? Like we live close together and everything else. We have some of the same mutual friends. This is hypothetical, right? We going about doing our things. I've been dating this girl and stuff. Uh, it gets kind of on the rocks a little bit. Like, we kind of separate, and it's only been like a week. Hopefully, Matt, you wouldn't just jump in the boat. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
You would let some more time progress. Maybe you would come up and talk to me like, hey, I really like this girl and stuff. Or like, I'm sorry, I know you and her had a thing for a little while, but I really like her. You at least have a discussion with me to see if it was okay or if I thought it was okay if you just went and uh, jumped in the situation and started being romantically involved with this person. But like, if you didn't do that, if you didn't come and talk to me about anything, and like, 2 weeks later, I see y'all like holding hands, walking, into a store or something like that, like I'm gonna be kind of pissed off about it. Even though I'm not with that person, I'm just like, bro, like what's been happening? How did they get together so quick? Like, so that's part of my problem too with like at least that part of the story is like it just don't make sense. He'd be a little more mad about what's going on. Now, ultimately, you could write the character and you could write the story where he gets okay with it after a little bit of time, right? They get back to Jack. Like, let's just say the story was totally different. They got back to Jackson for a little while before some big shit hits the fan, and they're doing character development, and you can say some time passed and like he's cool with it now. But for him to be like as cool as he was about it, I'm like, that ain't gonna happen in real life.
yeah,
Like he's gonna have a little bit of jealousy, especially after he finds out that the girl he was with is now pregnant. And a lot of guys, even if it's the wrong decision, even if it's kind of like not that great of a relationship, a lot of guys would like, you just found out you're probably gonna be a dad. A lot of guys is gonna automatically a lot of times try to like, oh, I got to be a dad. I need to be there. So he would probably at least try to like get back with Dina. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the
Yeah.
natural progression I feel like that most people would take. So it's a little weird how he's just like, okay, I guess you guys are together. Do you got any problem
Yeah.
with that, or do you think that's perfectly fine?
Um. I mean, to me, it seemed like they weren't much of a couple, to be honest. Like he even talked about some other girl in the episode that was the best like 2 weeks of his life or something when they visited. So to me, I didn't think she was like that big a part of his life. But yeah, I mean, he could have had more like I'm in the situation because it's my kid and shit like that. He could have been representing more like that, I guess.
No, yeah, yeah. So I mean, like I said, people down in the comments can like comment and say like if they're okay with him just being cool with it. I mean, you can always bring up like, well, some people are like, there's a very small, minute amount of people out there that would just be okay with this, like Jesse is. Like I said, even if he wasn't like really in love with her, like a lot of guys, when he finds out he's going to have a kid, possibly, they're going to try to like step up and at least try to be like a dad, which would be like, hey, I want to
Yeah,
be there, all that kind of stuff is going to be like their first reaction in a lot of cases, even if they become the dad that's never there. When they first hear that you're, oh man, like I'm possibly helping create like life here, like you always got the guys are always going to be like at least for a short period of time at the beginning when they hear that news, especially if it's their first kid, like, oh man, oh, I don't know what to think, you know what I'm saying? But I think I need to be there. I think I need to do the right thing. And like I said, a lot of dads, even in real life, end up making the wrong choices or something like that, right? And then they don't even participate in the child's life. But most people is going to try to at least lean in the way of doing things. So that's why I think that part's weird a little bit. We get to the section where we see Isaac and the lady that we saw in an episode before that we thought was the leader. Uh, we may have jumped to conclusions there because it seems like Isaac is really the leader. Like I
yeah,
thought just Isaac was like a person that was kind of like a leader of some of the troops because of the way they kind of framed it. But it looks like he's probably the one leading everything and making the decisions. But we do
hmm
see that lady come in there and they have a conversation and he's talking about like Abby or whatever. And because he's saying basically like, we're about to go do this thing. We might die because we're going to go do this mission uh, and everything else. And it's going to be dangerous. And he wants Abby around because he thinks Abby can be that person that if both of them were to get taken out, uh, he feels like Abby's the best person to step in and like lead their little military group. Like if something were to happen to them,
yeah,
I didn't mind this either. Wasn't super bad. The actors and stuff's doing okay. The writing was okay to a point, but it's just all these like little bitty things. I don't, there's a moment where she's like, because he's like, where's Abby? Like, we don't need her to die. And like, she does that automatically, assuming like, what, are you in love with Abby or something?
yeah,
Like, and he's obviously like this way older guy, and she's like a way younger, just out of teenage years, whatever. Uh, but I just kind of felt that like that comment being out of place. Like you're in the middle of an apocalyptic kind of event that's already happened. Most population and stuff's out there and gone and everything else. Like to make that kind of statement to me, to him is just kind of like weird. And on top of that, like you would think that like they've been together, like helping build this military operation and stuff like that to help protect them and all this, that they've been around each other enough that she would know like he probably wouldn't be
yeah,
into that or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just out of place.
yeah,
Like why was the comment of like, what, are you in love with Abby or something? And he kind of laughs and she's like, what? You're not the first older man. It's like, come on, man. For one, she's an adult. So like if she really liked Isaac for whatever reason, there ain't no problem with it, right? For one.
yeah.
Like, let's be honest. And two, it's like, bro, why are you even making these kind of comments? Like, I just thought that was kind of out of place. It kind of took me out of the scene a little bit, to be honest. I mean, You agree with that, or you got and what'd you think?
It didn't take me out of the scene, but yeah, it's not like they showed a scene of them flirting or anything like that. You know what I mean? So there was no insinuation of that.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's like no evidence that he would be saying that. 'Cause then, then he corrects her like, "Hey, I'm just saying that like if something were to happen to me and you, I thought Abby was going to be the one that's would be able to lead the troops. We're going to need a leader, and that kind of situation." And then we go back uh, to Jesse and Ellie as they're like going through. Still kind of like afterwards, they go to the bookstore. She's looking at little kids' books. There's a moment, it may have been in the scene before this, but maybe this scene where Jesse's basically like foreshadowing the fact that he's about to be taken out because he says something about now I can't die, basically. Like, says that like kind of on the
Yeah.
nose there, especially when you watch like the rest of the thing. They're having a discussion here and all of that and kind of walking around. They bump into like the wolves or whatever. They have like the scar, like kind of like a kid or whatever, kind of cornered, and they're starting to like beat this guy up and everything else. And like Ellie's wanting to stop and like help, and home dude like grabs her and says, "No, we can't do this. We've got to we got to keep going. Like you're going to put us in danger, Ellie. Like you're making like these decisions that's going to put everybody in danger and stuff." And I thought Jesse was making a good points, but to me, it also makes Ellie's character look kind of dumb, to be honest with you. And something really dumb happens in a little bit, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of like just a moment of like, come on, man, what are you doing? You don't know
Yeah.
none of these people. You're supposed to be out here for revenge.
Yep.
Why would you like stop your whole revenge tour to possibly die because you want to try to save some kid that like she knows she's had the evidence and stuff that is part of this cult like thing, that you've seen that's like disavows people and shit.
Yeah.
It's not like this group of people are like totally innocent. I get that like it's a younger person. Like when I say kid, it wasn't like a 3-year-old or something like that. It was like a little bit of an older kid, but it was a young person that they had kind of detained and was starting to like beat up and torture and stuff like that. And I get like, oh man, this is shitty that I have to leave without trying to help. But it's like, bro, you got to get your shit together. And like
Yeah.
one thing in the game is like she's already killed like 100 people going back and forth with all this during the game and everything. But like in the game, you know how we got like a hint of that in this last episode where she's like beating up on homegirl, like smashing her legs and shit like that, try to get information from her. And she even talks to like Dina in this episode about like she did that and all
Yeah.
that. But like the rest of it's weird to me because it's like, okay, cool. She's about to do the snap where she's like going to become basically a monster herself. But like it was weird to me going through the episode of her like trying to save that person. And there's a couple other scenes in the show in this particular episode to me that just doesn't make sense with the character because like if she's gone overboard, then why would she be trying to be sympathetic to all this stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you could be sympathetic and feel bad after some time has passed, maybe you get your revenge and then you think about it on it and go, man, that was probably like a shitty overall decision. I feel bad. I feel guilty for what I ended up doing. But you're not going to do that in the moment that you're still trying to get your revenge and shit. You still got this like so-called rage. But it was like she didn't show that rage almost any time during this episode.
Yeah. And like, what is she thinking? Like, even if she did help him, like, what are they gonna do? Like, take him with them and shit like that? No. You know what I mean? Like, it was just dumb. Like, she should have known that that's what needed to happen and that they needed to keep moving.
Well, speaking of dumb, we jump right into the next part where Ellie decides to get this boat that she sees. She
Yep.
splits off from Jesse or whatever. She's still trying to get her revenge. Jesse's just trying to get uh, Dina out of there because she's carrying his child now and he knows it. So he's like, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm not about this revenge shit. Like, we're going. He also does let her know that he is one of the people that also voted no about even coming to this place in the first place.
Yeah.
He's like, it's because you're selfish and stuff. And they had a little bit of a cool conversation there. Wasn't like earth shattering or anything, but she gets on this boat, man.
In the biggest storm ever.
Yeah, in this big, huge storm, the waters are choppy. Like, there's no, like, so we got to know that she's a person that was born after the whole thing went down. right? Like
Yeah.
she's young. She was born after the world kind of fell apart. Where does she get like boat training to even know how to work it?
Yep.
Okay. Like I could understand if she was like rowing the boat, you know what I'm saying, like with some paddles. Like anybody could kind of understand that without a lot of experience. Probably wouldn't do very good with no experience, but you still could do it. You could get it to work. She's like, it's a boat with like a motor on it. She's like trying to go through this choppy water, dangerous water. She gets hit by a big wave. For one, I don't believe she would have survived that.
No way.
To be honest with you, and for two, it's like, bro, how does she even know how to like work that boat even well enough to even do what she was doing in the first place? So she capsizes. She shows up on this little island that's kind of close to the mainland, like right outside Seattle, not too far away, from the thing. She gets there and she's crawling up on shore. The scars come out because I guess that's one of their hiding places or maybe even their home base. And grab her, takes her to like some of the group. We see this lady that looks like she's the one that they've been talking about because she seems like the one in charge. Ellie tries to plead for her life and it's like, hey, I tried to help one of you, like whatever. And they're still like hanging her up basically to kill her. And a noise happens and the main lady says, hey, the village. So the village are worried about. So they basically leave her. So there's another time where she miraculously, just by the luck of a sound of a horn, gets out of trouble and she's still alive now because they didn't completely, choke her to death or anything else. So they kind of just leave there with the rope around her neck. She gets that off and everything else. But it's like, bro, why the hell did we even do this thing?
Yeah.
Like literally, she rides a boat. She gets capsized. She shouldn't have survived the damn big wave that hit her or whatever and knocked her out of the boat.
And the boat's not going to land right by her on the shore. If
Right now, I'm gonna just go ahead and say that I was like, well, obviously the people on that island to get back and forth probably have a boat there. She just happens to get on shore.
No, it was the same boat. It was the same boat that she got there on.
I mean, maybe it was. That'd be even more dumb.
It was. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just gonna grant them the fact that maybe they're not that stupid, and that's supposed to be a boat from one of the scars or whatever that just happened to be there. But it's still lucky that she shows up on the piece of the island or whatever, piece of land where another boat just happened to be close by that she could instantly use right after she almost dies and then like gets saved by a sound of a horn. But like she gets back on a boat and then goes back across or whatever to where she thinks that like I guess it's the aquarium or something she's trying to get like get to Abby and them. And I just thought that whole scene was ridiculous, man. And like why? Like she literally goes over there, she almost gets choked to death. Like there's no consequences or repercussions. Like she's not even injured from almost getting choked to death or whatever. Like I don't.
I mean, once I saw how big the storm was from when she split up with Jesse, I was like, why would you take on a mission like this in this kind of weather? Like, it's not happening.
I agree, but especially get on a little boat like that and then it capsizes. Like I said, this whole point to me was kind of stupid, didn't fit. Like this whole scene should have just been cut out.
Yeah.
They should have just had her on the boat and then like her trying to arrive. Maybe she had to use the boat or whatever to get to where she thought Abby was. But she gets to the aquarium, she goes in there, and she hears people talking, and she busts into a room, and it happens to be two of the people that were there and helped kill Joel.
Yep.
And she's talking to him. This happens in the game, but not exactly the way they do it here. Like I said, in the game, she's become basically like a monster. You don't even know if you're supposed to be even kind of like rooting for her at this point because she's just going around killing folks at this point in the game. But she shows up with these two, and in the game, she gets the maps. There's a map on the table. She uses the map. She does say the line, I want you to point on the map to show me where Abby is. Then I'm going to have the second person point on the map to show me where Abby is. And you better hope both of you are right and point to the same spot.
Yeah.
It's actually really smart game plan. Like, because if they try to push two different spots and the other one can't see where the other one pointed, there's issues here.
Joel also did that in the first season. He did that to these people.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. So, like, that was something she learned. Like, she was with Joel at the time, right? Yeah. So, like,
I'm pretty sure.
Right, yeah. So like she learned that from Joel, so that was a cool little moment right there. Cool little callback and everything else. In the game, she's way more ruthless. She takes these people out.
Huh.
Like takes their ass out. Now, I don't know, I can't remember. I'm not the game guru or whatever, but I know a decent amount of the story. I can't remember though if when she kills the one girl, she like knows she's pregnant until like maybe it's afterwards. Maybe she's not showing as much or something like that, like in the game. I can't remember if she found out after the fact or whatever. But she kills these two people. But in this episode, the guy, he makes a quick movement. She shoots him. She doesn't mean to shoot the girl behind him, but she shoots him. The bullet goes through him, through her, and I think into the wall behind
Yeah,
him.
into the wall too.
So like this is like a powerful ass bullet gun she's using right here.
Yep.
Which probably I ain't. This is another kind of unbelievable thing, and I hate to bring it up, but damn, dude, she ain't shooting a gun like that. A gun that's going to go through two human beings and hit a wall. Listen, a gun, and I'm a big dude, bro. I'm a big guy, Matt. Like you've seen me. Mm-hmm. A gun that's going to go through two human beings and then through into the wall behind them, like that, is going to give you a kick that, like, I would even struggle to be able to hold a gun that powerful.
Yeah,
she would have got knocked on her ass, and it's just little things like that because of, that's just so sometimes unbelievable. Like she being able to survive the damn wave that hit her, get on shore, then survive with luck of the draw because of a noise of being choked to death. And then like things like this just start piling up that makes it like this ridiculous and everything else. To me, they should have just picked like a bigger, stouter like actress to play this role.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, how did this other girl get shot? And then I realized, oh, it went through him. And I'm like, what? And then when they showed the hole in the wall, I was like, Jesus. Because it was still like a sharp hole through the metal locker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that means it had power. It wasn't like just a dent in the wall. So it's
right.
like, what the fuck did she shoot him with?
Well, in the game, she kind of means, like, I don't even think kind of, she does mean to kill, like, the girl that ends up being pregnant. Like I said, I couldn't remember if she knew the girl was pregnant before she killed her or afterwards. Doesn't matter. But she did mean to kill the girl in the video game. In this, they made it to where it's an accident. And this is another point where I'm saying this don't even fit the character. This doesn't even fit the character that you made in the show. You showed us a glimpse of her becoming like this monster set on revenge. Nothing's going to stop her from doing that. And everything else, character progression. And then, like I said, she's even in the moment here. She's kind of like being sympathetic for some of the stuff she just did or whatever and everything else. But it's like, bro, like you're not matching that. It's not being matched because like she feels sorry that she kills this other person and then she's still alive. She's like an actual like doctor person. So it makes sense. She knows this little piece of information. She's like, help, cut it out. Like I'm pregnant, cut it out. Like, I've got 30 seconds, and she tries to like give her instructions, but obviously 30 seconds is not a lot of time. Ellie doesn't know how to do what she's asking her to do, so she doesn't even try. And the lady dies, her, and you automatically know like the baby's dead as well. Tommy comes out of like, where did Tommy fucking come from?
Yeah.
Where did Tommy come from? Do you even know? Because like that's another thing that don't make sense to me. Like he was out there, shooting and stuff like that, and I understand like, he's out there like doing the thing, and maybe she's getting close to where he's at. But for her, like, how does he know like where she's even at? She doesn't talk to him. He doesn't even know that like she's walking around at this point.
Yeah.
Like that to me was another stupid thing, like coincidence type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you think the same thing?
Yeah, no, when he busted in, I'm like, what? I'm like, how does this fool get here?
Yeah, so he kind of comes out of nowhere or whatever. That's kind of crazy. Then, so they get together. Obviously he sees they're together now. They can try to talk about some of the situation that's happening and all that. And they get back. They go back to the theater where Jesse and them hasn't left yet. They kind of stuck around. I'm going to give it props. Another cool part of this episode I thought was the Jesse and Ellie like kind of talked before things hit the fan. I don't know if you thought the same thing or whatever about that. I mean, do you agree? Did you like at least that conversation they had?
I was glad she at least told him thank you for coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for not
Um,
leaving, basically. Yeah.
'Cause- yeah, because like fucking, that was getting to me. Like that she at first was like totally unappreciative, and then like no thank you. Like
Mm-hmm.
they risked a lot to come get him and fucking be treated like shit. You know, so I was glad she told him that.
Then they hear a noise. Her and Jesse run out. They're in the theater part. They run out the doors, and as soon as Jesse, like not even paying attention, not even being careful, bangs through the door, gets shot in the head immediately.
Yeah,
Dead as a doornail. Abby's got Tommy in a compromising situation where she's got a gun on him. Whenever they go through the door, Ellie like gets behind like a counter or basically like a shelf or whatever. Abby says, "Stand up." Eventually, Ellie's like, "Bro, if I don't do something now, like Tommy's gonna die too." All this other shit. So she gets up. She comes out. She says, "Hey, I know why you went after Joel. He was there to save me. I'm the one you want, and everything else." And she's like,
I
"Take."
spared you.
Yeah. Well, Ellie's like, "Take me instead," kind of situation. You can see the anger on Abby's face because they came and done it, and she knows somehow that like one or two of her friends have been killed, and she thought she was busting in on some random people that she didn't really know too much about.
Yeah,
She didn't know Ellie was one of them, so she had that look of surprise when Ellie comes out behind the counter, and then she's like, "I spared you. I let you live, and you wasted it." And then we show a sign of like she's pointing the gun at Ellie. Ellie's like still got the hands up, and you can see it like in her face. She's like, "No!" And we hear the gunshot.
yeah, and then a long pause.
Yep, goes to black. Long pause. Then we go back. We got one of Abby's friends, so we know it's in the past, coming in and waking her up and saying, "Hey, Isaac wants to see you," and everything else. And this is Seattle day one, so we're basically going back in time a couple of days to where the part of where Abby is in Seattle and what's going on. She walks out to like a stadium that's got like a bunch of like military folks and stuff down there like gathered up. I mean, they got a damn army force over here.
Yeah, and they were like growing plants and stuff down there,
Yeah,
crops.
all that. Yep, all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of cool they're using like a freaking football stadium to do that.
Yeah,
That's actually a pretty cool thing. So like, but yeah, and then we end the episode.
yep,
That's where it ends.
yeah,
Like, bro, you don't even get to see a hint, like you said, of like what's Abby's condition.
mm,
Don't even get to see a hint of any of that. Period.
yeah,
So, and the problem with it is unlike especially back in the day where you'd probably have like 1 year or maybe not even a full year before you would get some more episodes and see where everything happens. It's probably going to be like 2 years. I think this final episode right here fell flat on its face. I think season one of The Last of Us was like super great, one of my favorite shows, definitely of that year. Hell, I would even give it a props. Like I would go back and watch the first season, almost like it's
yeah,
a movie because like it does like have an ending to the story, kind of. You know what I'm saying? They make it to Jackson and everything else, and that's like kind of the end of the story, how they survive, kind of situation. Like I could go back and watch that like it was like a long elongated movie or whatnot, and have a good time with it. Um, my thing, season two, first couple of episodes, freaking like I'm just sitting over here thinking to myself, Matt. I'm like, so we got like in the Olympics, you got one of those people and they do like the run, right? And they do the
yeah,
whole bounce off the pole ball or whatever they call it, and they're doing the flips in the air, and you're freaking amazed. You're like, holy shit, this is really good. Season one was like the first couple of flips. Season two starts, first few episodes, oh, perfect 10. This girl's gonna get a perfect 10. All they have to do is land it. They fell flat on their face.
mm,
It falls flat on its face. The story gets worse after the first couple of episodes. After I thought it was like a banger. First two episodes, I was like, hell yeah. I know people get pissed off. Their favorite character, Joel, gets killed, but I understand why it's happening. I'm like, man, if they can just piece together the story better, like this can still be freaking awesome. You know what I'm saying? If the
yep,
people that are in charge can still hold everything together without Joel being there, man, this could still be really good. We could still end this thing on a banger. You could possibly even add to the story from the game further on if you wanted to, kind of situation, right, with some of the characters or whatever. But it's like, bro, you fell flat on your face. We was all in
Yeah.
awe watching this perfect 10 Olympic feat, and then the landing don't stick. The knees buckle, and they just fall on their ass. And that's what I feel about, especially this episode. The episodes before this, I didn't give like total shit scores because of the fact that like I didn't think they were total shit episodes. I just wish they were better, especially when you're only getting 7 episodes for a season. I just thought overall, I wish the season would have been a little better. But like this final episode and watching it, like I don't even. It's another shocking moment. Jesse gets shot in the head, busting through the door. Like it's one of those things that could have had some real value. I do think they built the character up in the show, as far as Jesse goes, better than they did in the game. So I'm cool with that. So I did feel a little something when he got shot in the head, and I knew it was coming because I knew the story already. So I was already kind of spoiled. So I knew what was probably going to happen here. But like, I'm cool with even that part. But it's like you end when it go into black, and then you don't even know what's going to happen. Like anything
Yeah.
with Ellie and kind of stuff, we don't get another episode. The next episode is going to be, like I said, more than a couple of years from now. And I think Bella Ramsey, like I said, I don't think she's a bad actress. I'm not trying to beat up on the girl or anything like that, personally, or nothing like that. I'm just trying to say, like, I just don't know how great she is being able to carry a show. I thought it started getting weaker when she was having to do more of the carrying. Dina and some of the side characters was making it like a better show for me as we went along when it became that kind of situation and all of that. And like I said, there's just some stupid shit, especially that happened in this episode. That kind of makes the season like it's bad, but it's kind of makes the season not as great for me. I don't know if you're feeling like that harsh on it. Like, where are you at, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, like to be honest, other than episode 2, I probably won't go back and watch this show again just because I'm like,
Kind of agree. Kind of
what?
agree. And
Like
it's
I see
sad
it
because that
here.
episode 2 is literally a fantastic episode. It's
Yeah.
a banger. It's
Hmm.
a banger. But then when you
Yeah.
end it with something like this right here, the way the story goes and all that stuff, man, it just it hurts.
Yeah, like I'll watch whatever they put out for season 3 or whatever. But if it ever comes back to like watching this show again sometime, like I'll probably just watch season 2, episode 2, and be like, oh yeah, that was enough.
All right. So with that being said, man, what do you give as a score for this final episode, and then give me a score for the entire season?
I'm gonna give this episode like a 5.5 or a 6. So there's that. And then the whole season, I'll give it a 6.5.
Yeah, I was actually probably we scored a lot, pretty close to each other. I think on a lot of things. I was a little bit higher on the thing, but this is one of those things, like I said, where the landing fails, and then you go from perfect 10s or 9s scores to now you're hoping that you don't get totally eliminated from the competition. Um, and that's just kind of how I feel. I'm going lower than you on this episode. I'm going to a 4. I thought the water shit was stupid and didn't even need to be in the episode, especially for a final episode. It had no point, no meaning to me at all, period, of like
Yeah.
why you would even have that section in the thing. Plus, it didn't look all that great because it was super dark. You could barely see anything anyway. So it wasn't even that impressive. Like, she shouldn't have survived the wave. She shouldn't have been able to survive. She got lucky because of a noise, a horn that goes off, like I said, to be able to do that. And then after all that, she's almost not even like injured at all, still able to get around to even
Yeah.
confront the two friends and everything else. And I just don't like the fact that like you make it seem like she's turning into a monster, and then this episode you always try to like tone it down where she's like sympathetic that she killed one of the people and they happen to be pregnant and everything else. Like I said, I get like after you do the act and it hits you a couple of days later and you start like emotions like overcome you and stuff because you realize what you did. But in a time where you're trying to make this character out to be like hotly on revenge, like that's all they're thinking about. They're going in there for the blood and glory until like the very end, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it just doesn't feel like the character is even the character. Like I said, the character in the game, and some people don't like the story of the game. It was controversial when it came out and everything because they did make Ellie into a monster. But I just still think like in this kind of situation, you do kind of really have to make her that way, right? You can still feel sympathetic to her because you understand why she fell down to that, why she fell to that level and everything else. But I thought like 100% that like that's kind of at least where the character progression. I can see where you don't make it like super harsh, like maybe lighten it up a little bit, but yeah, it is what it is. But like, and then you end it where it's like a cliffhanger. You're not going to get satisfied for like another 2 years. You don't know
Yeah.
truly what happened with Ellie. Then you're going to go to a character, Abby, that you really didn't see that much in this season. You know, through like after episode 2, you really didn't get to see her that much more. And now you're going to be expected to have people come back to a show in season 3 with a character that they probably hate because she's the one that killed Joel, and like actually want to watch like what she
And
goes
now
through.
Ellie.
Right. Yeah. Well, you don't even know, like, if you don't know the story, you don't even know if Ellie's alive or anything else. And they killed another character that I think a lot of people thought was a pretty cool character in Jesse and stuff like that, and everything. So
And it's like there's no way they would let Tommy live. You know what I
yeah, and
mean?
then on top of that, fucking Tommy's ass like shows up out of nowhere to save her ass, or not really save her, but he shows up out of nowhere to get her so they could go back to the thing. He didn't really save her because he had already killed both. She had already killed both of them. But
Yeah.
it's just like all these things that just happen coincidentally, just to make your story goes through, is like super weak. So I'm going all the way down to a 4, a D, giving it the letter grade of a D in this episode. And that brings my final score all the way down to like a C minus for the whole season.
Yeah.
It's got one episode that's like super great, and it just sucks that it ended up finishing up with the way they decided to tell the story. You could have told the same exact story. I have no problem with Joel dying, no problem with Jesse dying, you know, and all that. But you just kind of failed in the attempt, man. This is one of the worst final episodes uh, of a season that I've seen in a while. And that's even including some of the shows that I haven't even liked. If you see what
Yeah.
I'm saying, like some of the shows that we reviewed that I wasn't a big fan of, I still thought their final episode was at least better than what we got here with this. And I don't even know, man. They might not need to count their eggs before they hatch, kind of situation. I don't know. Like, give me a probability if they go through with the season 3 or not.
Yeah, I think they will, but like who knows what like Pedro's schedule will be and shit like that. Like who knows? It might take longer than 2 years to get, you know?
All right.
Even if he's in
Yeah.
the show, I don't know. He might
When this
not
season
even
first
be in
started,
the
I thought
show.
a season 3 was like, all right, that's going to be cool. 100% going to happen. Now I'm like 50-50 coin flip on it. But all right,
Yeah.
guys, thank you for joining the show. Thank you for listening to me and Matt talk about this final episode of The Last of Us and everything else. Sorry it couldn't be as great as we wanted it to be and stuff like that. I know me and Matt really loved the first season. We was hoping this season, especially after episode 2 of this season, it was like, hell yeah, we was like really excited about getting into the new episodes. But as we kept going on, it was one of those situations where I wasn't like, on a show that I love, I can't wait for, especially if it releases weekly, like this show did. I could like, it's one of those things where if it's a good show, I can't wait for that day to come back. Oh shit,
Yeah.
the show comes out on a Monday. I can't wait for Monday, and everything else. That kind of situation turns out that like the last like 3 episodes of the season, like I wouldn't even necessarily looking forward to Sunday. It would be like, oh shit, it's Sunday. I've got to watch The Last of Us, so me and Matt can get together and talk about the episode afterwards.
Yeah.
But I would just happen to remember, oh yeah, it's Sunday. I wasn't like looking forward to it or anything like that.
Now that I think about it too, like the whole point of having the scars in the show at all is like makes no sense to me. Like, why do we even
Well,
need?
I understand the scars because it gives them the distraction they need to be able to go around the city with this big military forces there. So because of the scar situation, that allows them to have the story where they're sneaking around and trying to get to Abby. If you don't have that happening and it's just a military force there with no distraction at all, that even makes it even more unbelievable how they're even getting around and not being seen.
Mm,
If you
yeah,
see
but
what
then
I'm
they
saying.
try to add this like religious aspect to them and shit that
Well,
like
they're from the game and everything, but I do agree with you 100%. Like they didn't really build out, like I said, it should have been a 12 episode, freaking 10 or 12 episode season. You know, you don't have to do the old school 24 episodes. You could 10 or 12 episode season, and you could have fleshed out. You could have did a really cool episode where you learn more about the scars and what they're doing. Like they're still kind of a mystery. I agree with you. They didn't like uh, do a whole lot with them. They were
yeah.
just there for plot. We need a reason like why it's believable that they're able to both Tommy and Jesse are sneaking around, and them two are sneaking around. And the reason why they're not getting caught and are already dead is because of the fact that the wolves are like kind of distracted by the scars and their conflict that they're having with the scars.
Yeah.
I get.
You know what else I
So
thought of real quick?
well,
The fact that the scars even found her on the beach after she capsized with the boat, like,
yeah.
it
How do they
was a
know?
big ass storm.
I
Like, why
mean,
were you watching the water?
maybe it's the tiniest island ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of landmass there. Maybe I don't know, but I totally agree. She's just crawling. She's not making a bunch of noise. She's just like crawling on the
Yeah, she's
ground.
still been passed out, so yeah, she's not making any noise.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. It's one of those things too. She's like crawling on the ground, almost like she's dead. She's getting hanged by rope and choking to death, and like she's able to just go get back on a boat and go back across the
Yeah, and
water.
navigates
like,
right to where she wants to go and shit.
yeah,
Across
that's crazy.
choppy ass water.
That's the kind of shit that kind of just like, bro, come on, man, come on, bro, y'all did so good in like season 1 and the first part of this season, and then you just let it fall apart, man. Just let it fall apart. But all right, guys, man, thank you for joining us. Matt came in with some last words there, but it was a good conversation to have. Glad you actually mentioned that, because that was something I would have said too. But you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. You can do all the things there. You can join our Discord and everything else. Be with us, and if you join, the Ko-fi or the Patreon at certain levels and stuff, you can get on here like Matt does with us, and when we watch shows together and everything, and get on here and talk about them as we do, whether they're good or not. We finish them up. We try to get them through and everything else. So like I said, we'll probably have to come up with something that we can watch in between any kind of big release or anything that's coming out before that. But yeah, man, leave your comments, like, subscribe, do all those great things. You've seen it on the banner below us this entire time as we've been talking. But thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for like showing up and watching and all that. With that being said, until next time, peace. I got to hit the right button.